Good evening once again, and welcome to Nightline. We're so glad you joined us tonight. I'm Mary Sloan, along with my daughter, Toni Suchka, and thank you for joining us. And if you know somebody that would really like to be blessed tonight, get on the phone and call them and tell them to tune us in. We have got a great night tonight. Our guests are special to us, aren't they, Toni?
They are.
They're very special because one of them is my great niece. And it would be your great niece, Toni, wouldn't it?
No, she'd be my second cousin.
Oh, okay.
She's your niece. She's not my niece.
Anyway, she's my great niece. That's what she is. So, and then her husband Zachary's with us tonight also, and they're going to be sharing some things about the mission field. They've been on a mission, and
Zach and Bayleigh Holder.
Zach and Bayleigh Holder, and we're going to enjoy them tonight, so you don't want to go anywhere.
And they got their cute little girls with them tonight.
Yeah, we're going to get to meet their little girls.
Lori Jane and Carolina.
Lori Jane and Carolina, or Caroline.
Carolina. Listen, Mom,
I thought they
fired.
shortened it to Caroline. I don't know. Anyway, they're cute little girls, and you don't want to miss that.
And we have a great guest in our 9 o'clock hour as well that I'm excited to just share as well. His name's Jason Mack. He's an actor and director, and he has a new movie out, so he's going to be sharing about that as well. So,
well, that's
got
great.
a good night.
Well, we got a great scripture here tonight, Toni. I want you to just let us know, read it, and we'll just comment on it a little bit.
All right. Well, I did first want to say my phone just puts a reminder up, and it says share show, share show. So I want to tell you right now to go onto Facebook, Nightline Live with Mary and Toni, and share it.
Don't stare, but what?
Don't stare, but share. This is an opportunity to be able to just share the gospel into places that maybe would not hear it, or maybe Zach and Bayleigh are going to be talking about how the Lord has led them into a life of missions, and you know, it might be something that just is what someone needs to hear tonight that is unsure if that's what the Lord's calling them to do, and maybe something that they say tonight will be just what the Lord wants to speak to them to give them confirmation to move in that direction. Right. So I want you to share it on your Facebook page so that other people can hear what the Lord is doing in the lives of just ordinary people like me and Mom and Zach. I always want to say Back and Zaylee. Zach and Bayleigh and Jason Mack. I mean, it's great what the Lord's doing in different people that we get the opportunity to meet here on Nightline. So
yes, it is.
Okay, the scripture tonight, I was talking to Mom about this, and it is one that I've known since a little girl. It's not even it's a full chapter, so get ready. It's not super long. It's just 6 verses, but it's Psalms 23, and I recently was listening. My pastor was speaking a little bit on it, and it just brought back so many memories of growing up and my mom and dad just instilling these scriptures into me. And we wanted to read it tonight and really just break it down, because sometimes, Mom, I feel like when we talk about scripture and we've read it so many times that sometimes you forget what it really means,
right.
You know? So it's Psalms 23. I'm going to read it. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." And we wanted to break this down, and you know, there's so many incredible translations for this, but I had to go to the New King James Version because that is what I learned it in, and I can't even say this without saying, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." But I did pull it up in some other translations, and it was really neat to read. But I wanted to talk a little bit about sheep. So I started looking up online, because the first verse, Mom, it says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." So I was looking up a little bit and researching about sheep, and this is what some things are their characteristics. They move towards other sheep or a perceived friend, which would be someone who would typically feed them. Sheep are aimless animals they have no sense of direction, and they have no ability to lead themselves to prosperity, and that's ultimately the reason that they need a shepherd. The responsibility of the shepherd is to tend to the flock. They take care of the sheep, and they ensure that the sheep is safe. This means that the shepherd is in control of where he leads the flock, and also to ensure that they are safe at all times. So that takes me back to the Lord is my shepherd. Why do we refer to him as the shepherd? Because he is someone who is going to guide us where we need to go. He is going to provide safety for us. When we're, living this life in this world, we have to say, Lord, be my shepherd. I've often referred to him as the CEO of my life. Look to him and say, be my shepherd, be the CEO, guide my every step. Let me lead you in the path that you have for me. And then guess what? We don't have to want when we look to him. It's his responsibility, because it is the shepherd's responsibility to lead the flock and to keep them safe. And that's what his responsibility is to you if you'll allow him. And then in verse 2 it says, he makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Who makes us? The Father. Who leads us to peace? The Father does. And I wanted to read this in the Passion. In verse 2 it says, he offers a resting place for me in his luxurious love. I love the way that reads. And sometimes we're forced to rest. We were forced to rest all during that year we had with quarantine. And we can either choose to live under the rest that he provides for us and the peace, or we can choose to live a life that has stress, anxiety, anger, and removes all joy. This scripture is telling us he provides the rest. He makes us lie down in green pastures. He leads us to peace where there's still waters. And my pastor recently said this, and I thought, wow, I wrote this down. If you wait on the media to tell you how to rest, you will wait with exhaustion. And that is so true, because we're all looking to someone or something out in the secular world to bring us relief, and there's no relief. And nobody can bring us salvation but Jesus Christ. And he is the only one that will bring you rest and peace. And that is just verse 1 and 2.
My goodness. Well, verses 3, 4, and 5. Verse 3 says, he restoreth my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And I was looking at the word, he restores my soul. Our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions, and only the shepherd can restore our soul. You can have a counselor, you can have a friend, but they can't restore your soul. The shepherd has to do that. And we're all in right standing through grace, but we want to keep walking in right standing. And we want to allow the shepherd to lead us and guide us. A shepherd never drives sheep. He always guides sheep. And I heard this was a story years ago of some people over in the Holy Land that they all went out to tend their sheep. There were like 5 of them. And when each one of them did a certain way of talking to the sheep, the shepherd, when the shepherd, the man, made a sound for his sheep, only his sheep came. And the other shepherd made his own sound, and their sheep came. Because the sheep know my voice. Jesus said, the sheep know my voice. That's just a type and shadow of what Jesus knows. And it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You know, even when we veer off course, I don't know, Terry Tripp, he says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I do it. He's always there. We get off course sometime, but he's always there. And we're protected even in the valley, the battle. And I love this, thy rod and thy staff. He doesn't use it on us. He has the rod and the staff that he uses on the wolf. And we're actually comforted when we see the rod and the staff that he has, because he doesn't
He's protecting.
he doesn't use it on us. He's using it on that wolf that's trying to get to us. And he don't want to hurt the sheep. He's wanting to get to the wolf. And then he prepares the table before us in the presence of our enemies. He anoints our head with oil. And you think of just a big table out in the middle of nowhere, a battlefield with Jesus sitting at it with a white tablecloth and candlestick and angels all around. And he says, I prepare a table before you. There's wolves out here, but I'm here. And I have oil for you. And the effects of oil can even refresh us, bring us strength. And there's just so much to all this. I was just enjoying just getting into the whole study.
And even in verse 5 in the Passion, it says, you anoint me with the fragrance of your Holy Spirit. I mean,
right.
I love that as well. And even in verse 4, you were talking about the valley. There's no valley that's too deep or shallow for the Lord.
That's right.
You know, everyone has a different valley and it looks different for different people. But you can't think that the Lord's not going to reach you where you're at because, you know, someone else's valley's deeper than yours. That's okay. He reaches us in the deep and the shallow.
And you know what this led me to? I just want to bring this out too. Isaiah 53:7 says, he was led as a lamb to the slaughter. He became the sheep that day. He became the one that took the beating. Yeah. And Ezekiel 34:12 says, as the shepherd seeks out his flock on the day he is among his scattered sheep, so will I seek out my sheep and will deliver them from all the places that they were scattered on a cloudy and dark day. And that was the crucifixion. He became the sheep.
Yes.
He became the lamb that died.
And you seal it with this promise at the end. And this I'm reading from the Passion. So why would I fear the future, which so many people do, right? Especially right now. Only goodness and tender love pursue me all the days of my life. His love pursues you daily.
Right.
Why do you fear the future when He is your shepherd? Then after this life is over, guess what? We get to return to His presence and be with Him forever. So this is a psalm that I hold near and dear, and I hope that that was maybe brought something to light to you that maybe you didn't, you'd never seen before or heard before. And if you have heard it, it's never too much to hear again. So I hope that that blessed you just going through that.
Amen.
We're going to have a great show tonight. We've also got music from Billy Gaines, Mom's favorite artist. We love Billy Gaines here at Nightline, and he's been on with us a few times. But the song he's going to sing right now is called I Need Thee.
I need thee every hour, most gracious Lord. No tender voice like thine can peace afford. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. Lord, I come to thee. I need thee every hour. Stay thou nearby. Temptations lose their power when thou art nigh. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless I need thee every hour. In joy or pain, come quickly and abide, or life is vain. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. Lord, I come to thee. Oh, I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. Lord, I come to thee. Lord, I come to thee. Oh, I need thee, oh, I need thee, Lord, I need you. Need thee, Lord, I need thee.
Billy Gaines, he's got a voice on him, right?
Tell you.
We're going to be sharing a song that you sang with him,
Right.
that
I
well,
Killed
he
My
sang
Praise.
on your album.
Yes.
So we have some of our family here tonight that's also in ministry and in missions, and they're going to be updating us. It's Zachary. I'm going to call him Zach for the rest of the night. And Bayleigh Holder. Thank y'all for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
I want to read a little bit about you guys so everybody can learn a little bit about what you're involved with. You guys are alumni of the Ramp School of Ministry in Hamilton, Alabama.
Karen Wheaton. Whoop.
Yes. This is where they learn how to pursue a lifestyle of presence and purpose as young singles. They've now been married for 4 years and have 2 beautiful, sweet little girls. This past summer, Zach and Bayleigh and their 2 little girls, Lori Jane and Carolina, took part in Overland Missions Advanced Missions Training School in the Middle East and Zambia, Africa. AMT is a 3-month course designed to equip mission-minded believers with the necessary tools to take the gospel anywhere in the world and make a sustainable impact. They are here tonight to share the story of how Jesus has called their family of 4, and maybe one day that'll be more. We've already talked about that.
No day soon.
Not anytime soon, but we were just discussing, like, where are you going to have more kids?
Maybe you can name it more.
Yeah, their family of more, or 4 right now, the gospel to remote places in order to transform forgotten, unreached people by making disciples and developing leaders. So we are super proud of them.
Yes.
Bayleigh's mom, my cousin Lori, she was on our first show we ever
Very
hosted
first.
on
It was a
here.
ladies' night.
It was our
Really?
first
Yeah.
ladies' night, and Lori was on here. She was such an impact when she was here. She is with our Heavenly Father today. But I just look at Zach and Bayleigh, and I just am so proud because I know that your mother would be proud. I know your dad is proud, and you're just carrying on what they both instilled in you.
Yeah.
And so we're just glad to have you tonight.
And I remember, well, let's give them a clap, y'all. I remember the first time I ever met Zach. I believe I beat him in a game of ping pong really bad, didn't I?
I don't remember you saying, "Hi, my name's Mary." You're just like slinging. Just completely slinging.
When I play games, I play rough.
And there's
I
lots
tell
of
you.
screaming, right?
Yes.
Ping
Lots
pong.
of it.
Yes.
You can't win unless you scream.
I don't even know how to play ping pong.
That was so funny though, Zach. I hadn't really seen you in a year or so, and that was the first thing when I saw you. I remember playing ping pong with you. I'll never forget it. So that was fun. Well, tell us a little bit about how y'all grew up and how you connected and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well,
Well,
growing
kinda
up,
what your background, how different was it from each other?
extremely different.
Night and
So, yes, so, I mean, Mom, I remember the day that she got, like, recommitted her life to the Lord. I was 7 years old, and it was Mother's Day, and we had went to church in Easley at New Image, and it was our first service there. I mean, she had always sent me and Kayla to school growing up, but this was like the first time, I mean, not school, church. But this was the first time that, like, she was like, I'm going, and she took my Mimi, her mom, with her, and we went, and I remember Mom just weeping the entire service. And I was like, what is happening? I was 7. I didn't really understand what was going on. But from that day, she was completely different. She gave her life back to the Lord. She continued. And when she rededicated her life back, I mean, she was with it full force, 100%. All she thought about was Jesus. All she talked about was Jesus. All she did was pray.
I know sometimes I was like, listen, we're going to have to laugh a little bit.
I know. I can remember, like, we would be in conversations and I would be talking about something. She would always talk about Jesus. I'm like, why are you always talking about Jesus? Like, why does Jesus always have to be a part of it? And she goes, well, when you've fallen in love, it's all you can talk about.
Oh,
And so
good.
that, I mean.
That's a song.
I'm telling you, I know. You should write it. But no, I mean, that's, for me, I just remember, you know, we were in church Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just about every day of the week we were there.
So for most of your life, you grew up just being like under a Christian home and just learning about the Lord.
Oh, yeah. And then we obviously, with the family, it's just always, I mean, every gathering we had was just singing all the time. We were singing. And I just remember, like, I'm the only one in the family that can't sing. So I'm going to sit in the back because I'm not going to join the singing party, or else you're going to call me out for not singing. But
what about you, Zach? What was your background like?
Night and day different.
Yes.
I was raised in South Mississippi. None of my family really have a relationship with the Lord that I know of. I wasn't raised in a church family or a Christian family growing up. And the way I found out about Jesus, I was a kid, and there was this church bus that would come through the neighborhood like an ice cream truck. Except for giving you ice cream, you jump on the bus and you go to church, and they feed you cookies and Kool-Aid and talk to you about Moses and stuff. But that's all I knew.
You knew Moses.
I knew Moses. Knew nothing about the gospel or anything. So I started going to that Baptist church because they fed us, and we were poor at the time. And I loved free food. Still love free food.
Yes, he does.
100%.
Yes, he does.
But I started going there at 13 or 14 years old. And one of my friends was getting baptized one night, and I had no idea what that meant. I just know that she's getting dunked. Everybody's going to line her up at the front of the Baptist church. We're going to shake her hand. Bless you, sister. God bless you. And then we're going to go eat fried chicken and collard greens and have a potluck. And I was like, that is the best thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Wow.
Get their stomach, then their heart.
Yes. Yep. And I had not given my life to Jesus. I had no idea what the gospel was. And I said, you know what? I want to feel appreciated. I want to feel a part, and I like food. So the next week, I got baptized and did the whole ordeal. Everyone shook my hand, pre-COVID. No one was wearing masks back then.
Yeah.
And we did it. They had a free meal for us, and I felt on top of the world. But then I went home that night, and I'm one of 6 kids. I have 5 siblings, and I know what it's like when someone walks in a room, because you never have privacy whatsoever. But I'm laying in my bedroom, the door is shut, and I feel like someone's in the room. Someone walked in the room, and I looked over, and the door had not opened. It was shut. And then a peace filled the room. And I didn't have language for this when I was 13, 14 years old, but I felt and heard a voice in my heart, and it said, you don't know who I am. Mind you, that day I got baptized. And at 13, I didn't know what this was, and I assumed it was Jesus. I assumed right. And I said, I know, but I want to know you. Yeah. And from that moment on, I had lived a life with Jesus and got filled with his Spirit at a random meeting at a Pentecostal church. Didn't ask for it, didn't know what it was, didn't know anything. Had not read my Bible yet. But Jesus was pursuing me over and over and over, and I had no say in it, because he's just so gracious and so faithful.
And that's what he does. Like we were reading in the the psalm, like he comes after us.
Yeah.
Yes.
He wants to pursue us and give us that luxurious love, you know. I love that, you know, hearing who knew South Mississippi and Easley, South Carolina would come together and end up in Africa. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that later.
Africa.
Yes. So we've got more that they're going to share, but we're going to have a song that, Mom, you tell us about this song.
Yeah, it's on my last CD that I did. It's called I Kept My Praise, and I couldn't think of anybody better I wanted to sing with me than
I
Billy
was off
Gaines.
that day. I could have told her, no, I'm not doing it. And so
Billy Gaines is just a super singer. In fact, I talked to him today, and he just, you just hear his voice, you just like almost melt. It's just so soothing. But enjoy this song. So I Kept My Praise.
I was cast down, but I got up. The shackles came off. I'd had enough. Oh, I wouldn't give in to Satan's lies. I kept on going, and I kept my praise. Oh, I kept my praise. I kept my praise. I held my head high in spite of the pain. Oh, I found that secret place where I could dwell. I kept my praise. Oh, I kept my praise.
When your night has started and the road is long, just lift your head and sing a song. It's a song of freedom. My hands are raised. Just keep on singing and keep your praise.
Oh, I kept my praise. I kept my praise. I held my head high in spite of the pain. Oh, I found that secret place where I could dwell. I kept my praise. Oh, I kept my praise. I kept my joy. I kept my joy. The enemy tried, but he couldn't destroy. Oh, the joy that I have, it's become my strength. And I kept my praise. Oh, I kept my praise. I kept my peace. Oh, I kept my peace. Let go of anger, and I felt a release. His peace he gives to those who seek. And I kept my praise. Oh, I kept my praise. Oh, I kept my praise. I kept my praise. I held my head high in spite of the pain. Oh, I found a secret place where I could dwell. And I kept my praise. Oh, I kept my praise. I kept my praise. Oh, I kept my praise.
Thank you, Jesus.
Well, that was beautiful, Mom.
Thank you, Toni.
Very good. That's on her CD that you can get. You can get an old-fashioned CD or download it on about any platform.
All the music platforms, yes.
Well, we've got Zach and Bayleigh Holder, my cousins, second cousins, but same difference to me. We're talking to them a little bit about what the Lord's been doing in their life. And you guys, Bayleigh, you guys both went to the Ramp School in Hamilton,
Yes.
Virginia, that's right. Alabama, I'm
Alabama.
sorry. I was saying Virginia. Alabama. Karen Wheaton's ministry there, and that's where
Yeah.
you guys met.
Yes.
So after you finished school there, you came back to South Carolina and you were planning to get married.
Yes.
And I know your mom was sick at the time, and we were all just praying that she would be able to watch you walk down the aisle. And she was,
Yeah.
and then she had passed away shortly after that.
Yeah.
So I know that it was a lot, like you just got married, it was a happy time, but then
Yeah.
a sad time as well, and
Yes.
just kind of getting used to a lot of what would be a new normal. A new normal of being married, a new normal of a life without your mom here on this earth. And as you kind of tried to settle into what this new life looked like, you tried to find normal, but you had kids,
Yeah.
but your normal just was not going to be here.
Right.
You guys uprooted your family, and you went for a 3-month missions trip away.
Yes.
That's a lot. What made
Yeah.
you decide, like, this is it? We're changing everything, and we're going to do this.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, for me, missions has always, been the goal since I was 8 years old. I was prophesied over by a man named Danny Stein, and he was praying over me, and he grabbed my feet, and he said, "Your feet will touch the soil of many nations," at 8. And I remember talking to Mom, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And she was like, "Well, you're going to be a missionary." And I held on to that, and that's actually what I went to the Ramp School Ministry was for the mission field. And when we got married, our goal was to go on the mission field we got married in June. We were going to go in July. But Mom passed away 2 weeks after. So we kind of put everything on hold and was like, I need time to heal. And we've had other deaths in the family within this past 4 years, his mother and brother. So the past 4 years have really been a time for us where we were, okay, we're having kids and we're in really big highs and really big lows, and what are we going to do? And we decided in the beginning of 2020, before COVID hit, to go on a fast together and just like, Lord, what do you want for us? We're tired of just, the mundane of going to work and being with the kids and cleaning the house. Like, this is just not it, and I know that there's something greater. And so I was cleaning out the closet so that I didn't eat and came across our old missions books from the Ramp, and I just broke. And I was like, this is it. I have to be on the mission field, and I have to figure out how there are people that need to know about Jesus. And he came home from work one day, and I was like, we're going on the mission field. This is what we're doing. And he was like, calm down. I'm hungry, and I'm tired. I don't know what's happening.
I haven't even gotten in the house yet.
No.
She's like, look at this. I'm like, whoa.
But we talked about it and we prayed about it, and God was like, this is something you have to do. And so that's when our heart for the mission field just erupted again, and we were researching organizations, and we came across Overland, and they said, we want you to go, and we want you to preach the gospel, heal the sick, raise the dead, cast out demons, speak in tongues, baptize people with your children. And I said, absolutely, let's do it. And we signed up, and that's what we did, and it has been the best decision that we have ever made.
Well, Zach, how did God provide the money for you to go to the Middle East?
So we made the decision. We didn't even have the $100 for the application fee.
Yeah, we didn't.
We had to.
Now that's pretty bad, isn't
No,
it?
it was
is.
bad.
We had just
it
enough.
Was, it was just, yeah, we had to
You
ask them.
fasted real well that week.
Yes.
Yeah,
real well.
I think we borrowed $100 just to do the application fee.
Yeah.
But the moment we applied and were accepted, we were at church on Sunday in Anderson, and our pastor was up there about to start his sermon, and he said, "Hold on, I have to do this." And he looks at us and he says, "Don't worry about when, don't worry about why, do not worry about how or who or where. God's going to make a way where there is no way. All you have to do, make sure that you keep Jesus first in your life, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and he will open the door where it's closed and close the door where it's open." And the moment we got that word, up until 4 months later, we miraculously saw Jesus raise $18,000
Yeah.
for us to go.
Just $3,000 over what we needed.
$3,000 over what we needed. Yeah,
Wow, that's awesome. Wow,
it was wild.
that's what he does, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what was your experience like? You went to the Middle East and you went to Africa. So tell us what your experience was like. As you're talking, we're going to be showing some pictures
Yeah.
from that will just pop up.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So the Middle East was incredible. Before we left, we told the Lord, there's no plan B. This is what we want to do for the rest of our lives. And so when we get to the Middle East, he's, okay, are you sure? And so everything that could have tested our walk and pushed our buttons happened. But it was absolutely, look at my baby, sorry.
That's Lori Jane.
Yes. But it was absolutely incredible. One of my absolute favorite testimonies from the Middle East is that we met so many people who said, I've had a dream about a man in white who told me that what I believe is false and that he is truth. Do you know anything about this?
Wow.
And then we were able to guide them into the truth. And that is so cool because, not many people go to the Middle East to begin with. And so, but when you go, you see just how easy and how light it is because God is really setting it up. He's coming to people, he's meeting them in their dreams, and it's just such an open door for you to walk into and just explain to them, this is the way. And then Africa was just an oasis. We passed the test in Jordan, so Middle East. So when we got to Africa, we were able to just kind of rest and just be with Jesus and hear about our, where we're headed, and it was just amazing.
Tell us about these people in the picture.
Oh, that was
Oh yeah, that was
I love 'em.
in Africa. That's a bunch of kids that showed up and wanted to play. We were in the villages during that time. It was a whole week, and we just spent time in a remote village, and there were hundreds of kids. I remember they swarmed our car the moment we got there, 300 kids. The girls were like, I don't know what to do right now.
They want to go play.
Yeah, it was there it is. That's the moment they swarmed our car,
Wow.
and the girls loved it. But I remember when we were in Africa, there was an older woman there, a grandma as they called her, and I had prayed for the whole family. I said, God is going to touch you with his powerful love. And if you've never experienced this before, I want you to stand up. We were in their little village hut. Stand up, we're going to pray for you. And we laid hands on all of them, and the grandmother started manifesting something that was not of God. And in that moment, I was like, what's happening right now? And they said, yeah, this has happened for years. She's dealt with this demonic attack. And I said, it stops today. They said, we've had people pray all the time and it never happens. And we said, nope, not today. The kingdom of God has come, and this thing leaves, and you'll be filled with the power of God. And so my friend who was with me, I was like, anybody here not prayed for this to ever happen before? And he said, me. And I was like, okay, pray. And he said, get out. And all of a sudden, it was a normal, peaceful moment. And then Bayleigh went a week later, didn't even know the story or the woman. And they had shared the story with her, and the old lady said, this guy with really long hair came up and they prayed for me, and I have not dealt with nightmares or anything other than the love of God ever since. Never been like that before.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's the things that I feel like when you go to other countries, they're just so even more open to hear and believe what you say than what we already know.
Yeah.
And so healing can come in miraculous things like that.
So it's had a big impact on your your whole life, your relationship, everything
Oh,
by
yeah.
going over there.
Yeah.
And those little girls, did they really know where they were, or they're just having fun where they were?
Oh, Laura Jane talks about Africa all the
Oh,
time.
she
She
does.
looks out the window and she'll go, "Where's an elephant? Is there a
No.
monkey?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, not here."
Like,
And she'll go, "Oh, Africa."
But she calls it Erica. She's
She
like,
does.
I miss Erica.
Oh, how sweet.
One of our pastors at Hope Church, he grew up in Africa. His
Yeah.
parents were in the missions, and he was there until he was a teenager. And he just got amazing stories to share, And so I think that's so neat that you
Yeah.
guys, your girls, are gonna, have so much to share and so much in them, and not just, elephants and camels
Right.
and the animals,
Right.
but miracles that
Yeah.
they're there with you to see. So.
Yeah.
That's right.
So amazing. We are going to go ahead and have another song shared by Billy Gaines, and then we're going to be back, and you're going to get to meet these little girls.
A Better Man.
Before the show is over, but Billy's singing A Better Man.
I stand at a river, I must reach the other side. Don't know how I'll get there, the river's cold and deep and wide. So strong is the current, I'd be surely swept away. Stronger though is my Father's hand, and He will make a way. This trial is that river, but I've been here before. I've learned from the last time that I'll reach the other shore. 'Cause on the other side of this trial I'll be a better man. I will know the sweet deliverance of my Father's mighty hand. I will have another battle won upon which I can stand. I'll grow closer to my Savior as I trust His master plan, and I'll know Him better. I will be better. I'll be a better man. I cried with my whole heart, my God, what have I done to deserve what I'm going through? He said, it's just that you're my son. I'm doing a work in you, building patience in my child. You'll find on the other side that it's all been worth a while. So hold on to my promises as you watch my will unfold. You'll see that this trial was under my control. So on the other side of your trial, you'll be a better man. You will know the sweet deliverance of your Father's mighty hand. You will have another battle won upon which you can stand. You grow closer to your Savior as you trust His masterful hand, and you know Him better. You will be better. You'll be a better man. I'm not talking about the sweet by and by. In this here and now, He'll deliver me somehow. So on the other side of this trial, I'll be a better man. I will know the sweet deliverance of my Father's mighty hand. Another battle won upon which I can stand. I'll go closer to my Savior as I trust His masterful hand, and I'll know Him better. better man. And I'll be a better man.
What a song. Wow. Enjoyed that, Billy. That was good. If you're just joining us tonight, we have some kin people with us. Bayleigh is my...
That sounds old.
I
Kin
know.
people.
Kin folk.
How old are you,
Is
Mom?
I'm just 40.
We
I
got
don't
kin
know.
folk with us tonight. Bailey went,
We got some kin people. Is that better?
Kin
Or we
people.
got kin.
I
Family.
haven't heard that in so long.
Family.
Anyway.
We got family with us. Zach and Bayleigh Holder. And I love them so much. They've been on the mission field in Africa, and they're back home, and they're just going to be sharing a little bit more with us tonight. If you missed the whole program, you can watch it again in the morning at 8, or you can go on YouTube, or you can go to the WGGS
You can just rewind
Facebook,
it when it's done.
Rewind, whatever. But what impacted you the most while you were overseas? And I'll start with you, Bayleigh, and then Zach,
Yeah.
you can tell us.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that impacted me was we had a class called Gospel of Identity. And like I said earlier in the show, like, yes, I was raised in a Christian home, and it was something that I had heard, but the reality of it, it was, you know, that you now, not when you die and go to heaven, but right now, are a new creation. And that you are, when Jesus, he died on the cross, we died on the cross. And that when he rose from the grave, we rose.
Amen.
And that now in this life, that, you know, death isn't the entrance into ultimate glory, but now as a new creation in Jesus, that now I'm able to walk in that. And that was the biggest thing. I remember it was like our 4th or 5th week there during AMT. And that was the class that we were in, and I just broke, and we had to write a whole paper on it. I remember just talking about how, like, me, Bayleigh, I'm still in the same flesh, and it was hard for me to just grasp that I'm something different, but that truly my sins are washed away. That was the biggest thing for me to comprehend and to grasp, and now being able to preach a whole gospel of this is what Jesus does for you, is he makes you new today, was something that as we're taking it, you know, into the mission field full time, having the full understanding of that for me was probably the thing that truly impacted me the most.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you, Zach.
definitely. We had a teacher there while we were in the Middle East, and he simply shared a class on what the call of God is on your life. And he blew our minds away. He didn't care what we thought. He said, the call of God on your life is not who, it's not where, and it's not when. It is what. Your call is to preach the gospel, make disciples, and reach those who've never been reached. It doesn't matter where it happens, as long as you're doing it, that's the call of God. So don't get hung up on where you're supposed to go, just go. And he will provide as long as you preach the gospel and you raise up disciples who look like Jesus, who make disciples who look like Jesus. And it impacted me completely. So now I'm like, I'll go anywhere, Lord,
Yeah.
because I will be preaching the gospel wherever you send me.
Wow. I can see a change in you, Zach. I can. I mean, you've always been outgoing and all, but I just see just such a change in you. And I know you meant every word you said right there, didn't you?
Yeah.
You're sold out, both of you.
Yes.
well, I can believe you'd go anywhere because of just where you came from. So what is next for you guys? Are you going back to Africa, or are you going somewhere different?
Yeah, definitely. We will not be going back to Africa full time. We went to the school or the training with the intentions of becoming full-time career missionaries in a nation or people group that have either never heard the gospel or have literally no gospel access whatsoever. And Bayleigh said that she had a dream when she was at the ramp that she was hiking the Himalayas. And so we took that dream and we said, we think the Lord's calling us to go towards Asia. And we told the team there, we sat down with the leadership of the team and we said, we want to be the ones who pioneer a country in Asia that you guys have not been in yet. We want to break it open for this organization, and we want to reach people who've never heard the gospel. And they said, yes, you're what we've been waiting on, you're what we've been looking for, but said region that you want to go to is not in the works until about 5 years from now. Logistically, we don't see it happening. I was like, what are we going to do for five years? Send me somewhere. The call of God is what? Not where. Send me somewhere. So they said, you know what? Let's commit to Cambodia because they have a team in Cambodia. And we said, yes, 100%. They gave us other options. They said, pick one. And I'm like, I don't like decisions whatsoever. But the Lord said, Cambodia is the one for you.
Yeah.
So we will be going to Cambodia. They have a team that's been there since about 2013. They have started a viral move of God. They're raising up disciples in a country that is over 99% Buddhist, and God is working in a mighty way.
Wow.
And so we're going to go there. We're going to link up with the country director there, and he's going to show us what it looks like to pioneer another country. And then we're committing to Southeast Asia specifically, and all of Asia in that region, but we have our eyes on a specific country, and he's going to train us on what it looks like to be the couple who breaks open that country, who raises up a team, and who starts a viral move of God there. And so every time I say it, I feel this small. I'm like, I'm not worthy, Lord, but you are. I'll do whatever.
It's
So
only through him.
we will be committing to Cambodia.
Isn't it great to have a wife that's right behind you and wanting to go and do the same thing your heart wants to do, and then his heart wants to
She's more driven than me. She scares me.
No, it's hard to believe anybody more driven than you.
She is a fiery woman of God.
I just
Well,
think it's
that's
incredible
Lori.
that
Yes.
you're going and with your family. I know other families that have done that. Oh, I hear some little girls coming.
Here's some little girl, baby.
Oh,
love.
oh, this is too sweet.
Goodness, I
These
love
are the two precious girls
Yes.
that they have
Say
been
Oh
traveling
my goodness.
with them in the mission
Yes.
field in Africa and the Middle East. And so
So sweet.
I am so super proud of
Yes.
you guys. Look at them. Aren't they so cute? Okay, while they're here, I want you to share, someone's watching, how can we partner with you? How can
Yes.
people help you guys get to Cambodia and do what the Lord's calling?
The best way is, I think you're going to put our information on the screen. Best way is to reach out to us, because we don't want someone just sending us financially. I know finances will get me there quicker, but God will get me there. But what I want is someone who's a prayer warrior, who's... Where are you going, baby? I want someone who can sit down with me and partner with us in heart and in prayer. And
Well, let's introduce the little girls, and then we'll
Come
let
here.
them go back. Tell us their names.
Lori Jane.
Lori
is
Jane, named
the
after
older
your
one.
mom, huh? Lori Jane.
And then
This
Caroline.
is Caroline. And they're missionaries too. Okay.
Yes. So the best way is to email or call us, and we'll get coffee, and we'll share the vision, and we'll see what it looks
So
like.
you
want
want to build
be.
relationship.
Yes.
You don't just, you want people to know your heart and what you're doing and build relationship.
Yes, because where we are going, where we're going to need intercessors to lead us in that place with prayer.
Right.
Because those countries are the hardest and darkest for a reason. And we may find out that reason when we get there, but I need prayers to open the door and keep me on the field.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And
Megan,
it's going to change these little girls'
go see
lives.
Megan.
Crazy kids.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. They're still African babies.
They are.
Yes, they're still looking. They're used to like just looking for the elephants, right?
Okay.
So that's how you can partner with them. Their number, you put that on the screen. Zach and Bayleigh Holder. They have an email address, and you can partner with them financially. They also need your prayers to partner with them, as you know, just to cover them as they're away and doing this next venture that the Lord has for them. And someone may be watching tonight that is possibly thinking about doing the same thing you guys. Maybe the Lord's been tugging on them since they were, you know, a child. How much time do we have? We got about 2 minutes.
Yes.
I would love for you to look in the camera and just maybe minister to that person who's thinking, is this for me? I don't know. How do I know? And then pray over our viewers. We've had people call in tonight that need prayer, whether it's healing or finances or just a broad spectrum of things. So
Yes, definitely. I'd love to do that. I would say one thing to you. The call of God is what? It is not who, it is not where, it is not how. It is go, preach the gospel, and as you go, raise disciples up who look like Jesus. No matter where it is that you go and just do it. Jesus said, the gospel will be preached to the ends of the earth, then the end will come. So the best thing for you to do is, if you feel a call to preach the gospel, go where it's never been heard. And He will make a way for you to go, because He's waiting to come back. So I'd love to pray for you now. Father, I thank you for those who are feeling the call to go into the world and preach the gospel. And I ask that you give them the fire and the vision and the passion to go and the finances to go, Lord. Make it clear and send them on the field. Your word says that you will ekbalo in the Greek, means you will forcefully send them out. You'll send out laborers into the harvest field. So I ask that you do that to whoever is watching now and feeling the tug to go to a nation.
Amen. Lori Jane, come here. Come sit in my lap. Come tell all the viewers hello. Come on.
Come here, baby.
Come on.
Come here. You want to come say hey? Come say hey to everybody.
We are so glad that you joined us for this first hour. We want you to stay tuned. We have Jason Mack in our 9 o'clock hour. He's going to be sharing about his new movie, A Father's Legacy. All right. We'll see you in just a couple minutes.